Special thanks to Isaac, my son, for giving us this opportunity to demonstrate how to repair a broken pipe. The type of repair we're going to demonstrate today I refer to as a telephone style of repair because it looks like an old style telephone receiver when you're done. First thing you do is you cut about a foot of pipe, give yourself enough room to make the repair and also to add the fittings on both sides. The splice we're making today is about 8 inches, just because I didn't want to dig a hole any bigger. Normally this type of break, because it's so shallow, you'd repair with the traditional straight repair. But for the sake of demonstration today, we're going to use the shortcut repair. This type of repair is good if you have a deep pipe or if the pipe's too large to get any flex in it. It also works well on angles. If you have a elbow that you need to swap out, you can just cut across the corner with this style of repair. First thing you want to do is clean the pipe really well. I like to use plumber's cloth on the pipe that's been in the ground. Just get off any dirt and grime that's been embedded on the pipe for sitting in the ground too long. I also like to use primer on all of my fittings and all of my pipe ends. It's not always necessary. Some types of glue don't require it, but I like to use primer all the time, and I prefer to use 7-Eleven style glue. Usually sets up in a couple of hours, and you can have it at full strength in maybe 4 hours. For this style of repair, you're going to need 4 elbows, and you're going to need a couple feet of pipe. We're repairing 1-inch pipe today. Make sure you put primer on all your fittings and all your pipe ends. Normally with this style of repair you'll go to the side, but for the sake of demonstration today we'll go straight up. You'll want to glue the whole depth of the socket, and you'll want to glue the pipe to at least the depth of the socket. As you push the pipe on, give it a quarter turn and then hold the fitting in place till about the count of 10. If you don't do that, the pipe will slip off of the socket and you'll have a gap. Make sure that your fittings on each side are parallel to one another. If you don't put your first 2 fittings at the same angle, then it'll be difficult to get them to fit later. The gap between the old pipes is 8 inches on this repair. Taking into consideration the 1.5 on each of the fittings, the new gap will be 5 inches. So you cut your top piece for 5 inches. And you take about 1/8 of an inch off to compensate for the 2 fittings on each side. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to make your risers. Those can be any length, but need to be at least double the depth of the sockets. You're going to use 2 of them and make sure that they are exactly the same length. And you can just eyeball it. The right tool for the job is always important. I like to have a pair of pipe cutters, but you can also use a hacksaw or even a piece of string or wire to cut through pipe. Problem with a hacksaw or a string or wire is that it leaves burrs inside the pipe. You'll want to make sure you clean those out with either sandpaper or a straight edge of some kind. If you don't, when you put pressure through the valve again, you'll end up with the burrs in your sprinkler heads and it'll clog your filters. Again, make sure you prime and glue both your pipe ends and your sockets. And don't forget, when you push your pipe in, to give it a quarter turn to make sure that the glue's evenly distributed, and don't forget to hold it on for a count of 10. Double check, make sure your pipe is the correct length. Then get all your fittings and pipe ends glued or primed and glued. Don't put anything together yet. One advantage of this type of repair is it saves a lot of time. You don't have to dig as much, and you don't have to get the pipe to flex in order to get couplings on. This type of repair you can do in about 5 minutes. You can glue the first fitting onto the pipe, but don't glue any more on until you're ready to assemble the whole thing. And don't forget to glue any of the parts, the sockets or the pipe ends. If you forget one, you'll have a leak and you have to replace it. Never be afraid to use too much glue. No one's ever going to comment on how bad your glue joints look because they got too much glue. Make sure you hold it on for a little while until they're seated, and then you're done.